first time you came to Mered's office, you ended up walking out as the owner of an apartment in ICONIC Residences.
One of the things it does sound silly, I really like, is you can have your morning shower and you can be just looking straight across to the palm.
Many developers talk about quality, and it is a word that's used everywhere nowadays. But how does Mered approach it differently?
Quality is one of the pillars that we implement in every state of the project. So from the selection of the architect, the approval of the brief, to picking the right contractor to build the project.
Which is the reason why I introduced my friends. So they didn't believe me. So I was like, well, come on, I'll show you it. And two of them bought.
We have not had one person that bought our project and has resold, not one.
How does Mered craft the lifestyle that its buildings enable? Welcome back to the Mered Talks podcast. I'm your host, Harley Jenner, and in every episode we go beyond property to explore how great people and bold ideas design the way we live, work, and connect. Today I'm joined as usual by two wonderful people. The first to join us is Michael Belton. With more than 30 years of experience in global real estate, he has managed over $5 billion worth of assets across the US, Europe, and the Middle East. Today, as CEO of Mered, Michael is driving the company's expansion across the UAE and the wider GCC. Our next guest is Lorenzo Semaratne. Lorenzo is a senior energy and commodities market executive with a 20-year career in global energy data and analytics sector. Beyond business, he's a passionate car enthusiast with a collection of classic Ferraris and someone who describes himself with the Italian word buon gusto, a person who is a true connoisseur of the finer things in life. Thank you for being here today, Lorenzo.
Welcome. My pleasure.
So today's episode of Mered Talks is slightly different. We are usually joined by industry experts, but today you'll be joining us from the other side of the journey as a buyer. So Lorenzo has bought apartments in ICONIC Residences as well as Riviera Residences, and he has also convinced many of his friends to buy in Mered's projects. So today's conversation will focus on what turns a buyer into a brand ambassador. So you grew up in the UK and Italy, and you've also traveled around quite often as well. What made you decide to settle down for now in Dubai in the UAE?
So for my sins, I spent probably 25 years on a plane.
Okay.
I'm on a global sales team, so I was literally everywhere. Very few countries left that I haven't been to. There isn't a continent I haven't been to, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. Unless you call it the Antarctic, I haven't been there. And the answer is well, it's a combination of things. It's the safety, the cleanness, the people that are here. It's truly cosmopolitan. And every week there's more. Even now, more people are coming over. It's also really conveniently located. I'm pretty much halfway anywhere. Yeah. If I want to go to Asia, I'm halfway there. If I want to go back to Europe, it's very central. It's perfect. And I still involved in business. So as a time zone, I can wake up in the morning and talk to Singapore or Hong Kong. Australia's a bit of a pain. Mm-hmm. That's a pain everywhere. Or, spend a bit more time in the evening. I talk to the US. So it's located both conveniently for travel, for business, and the environment. It's great. And it's, one of the few countries left that you can actually enjoy the fruits of your labor without being demonized as some kind of evil capitalist. I can drive whatever I like, wear whatever I like, not worry about being mugged, but enjoy it. There's only, realistically speaking, there's only Singapore, Monaco, and Dubai, Abu Dhabi, that you can actually live and enjoy the life you've created for yourself and your family without having to look over your shoulder. And it's a big thing. If my wife wants to take an Uber at 3 a.m. because she's in a nightclub, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. I'd probably be asleep at home. Mm-hmm. Couldn't say that anywhere else apart from those other two countries.
Great.
So it's a combination of things.
So Lorenzo, the first time you came to Mered's office, it was to see Michael, who was the newly appointed CEO. And you ended up walking out as the owner of an apartment in Riviera in ICONIC Residences.
True. I came to have a chat. We haven't seen each other for a while and just catch up over a coffee. Mm-hmm. And I left as the owner of an apartment. Interesting journey. Completely unexpected. Mm-hmm. And I'm not generally someone that's is spontaneous when it comes to spending that kind of money. I normally
Okay.
think things through, but it all made sense, and so we just did it on the day.
So what happened? You came to Mirrid, you saw the show flat.
Came to Merritt, Mike showed me the show flat. We just talking about the show flat, and I was looking at the quality and
Mhm.
just looking at the views. And I said, "Oh, I've got to have one." He went, "Oh, okay." And I think it was a flippant okay because I don't think he took me seriously. And
Okay.
I went, "No, I want one." He's like, "Okay," and and then he introduced me to Oscar, and then yes, it was done.
One bit I would like to add, it's kind of on the end of that. When Lorenzo went into the show flat the first time with me, I had this impression that he was kind of like reliving, I can't say it's his childhood, maybe it's his late teenage years, or maybe his early 20s when he had that first luxury car, because he just kind of melted into the experience. And you have a deja vu. I think he was experiencing something like a deja vu when he walked into the show flat. And it's the same thing when you get a new car. When you get that new car, you have that new car smell. There was something for me that Lorenzo got that new car smell when he went back into the show flat.
Yes, but the answer is actually, you Dubai has an image. You have an image in your head of what living in Dubai looks like. And when I walked in and saw the view, that's what it triggered. It triggered, this is what I've been looking for in terms of, right, the design's great, but now I'm going to get that view, and that's what I'm going to wake up to. And that's what Dubai living meant to me. It didn't mean living, up in the middle of nowhere with a view of the sand. I wanted to see the sea. And the palms are an iconic view. Got to see the palm. So, yeah, you're right. It triggered ticked all the boxes. This is, it was, I want this because it is what I want, it's how I want to live. And same is true with the Riviera. It's like, I'm on the sea. It's how you envisage when you come here, someone like me, or what life should look like when you're here. It shouldn't mean me stuck in the middle of a little villa in the middle of nowhere. No, I want to be next to the water. I want to have this view. It triggers that. The first Ferrari you buy, you're a kid. All the dreams you ever had, and all the little quirks, you've always wanted it, and yes, I can have it. It's mine now. It's that kind of feeling. You're right.
And that must have been very convincing because you said for many years that you didn't want to buy property in the UAE.
Yeah, I came here 5 years ago, and I couldn't put my head around it. Nothing actually gelled. And then when we're walking around and I'm just looking at, well, it wasn't even the sales. I bought it. No one sold me anything, which is, got to be clear. Took me around, the views, the whole style just felt right for me, for what I like. And in terms of the quality, it just looked right. I mean, I quizzed him about, is it going to be the same? He said, no, probably better. So things like that made me happy.
That's exactly what you want to hear.
Yeah, because I've mentioned it before in passing that quality is really hard to find here, good quality. And there's lots of, whether it's a car, whether it's whatever, there's a lot of surface glitz and glamour. But when you scratch a little bit below the surface, there's lots of filler and fake stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, it was a really nice journey.
Great. Michael, from your side, what do you think Mirrid does differently that enables a buyer to make a decision so quickly to purchase a property?
Well, I think every buyer is different. Lorenzo's case was completely unexpected for me as well. I've known Lorenzo over, I think, 10, 12 years, from his gas trading days to moving to Dubai. And we've casually gone out to restaurants, had social events together. And when I invited him to the office and took him to the show flat, he was like a kid in a candy store. And now looking back at that, when I started following Lorenzo on Instagram, every post of his is one of his cars, whether it's a Ferrari or a Bentley or a Maserati or whatever they are. There's lots of them, I can tell you. So when he came into the show flat, I just got out of his way because he knew the design lines from which car was this from. When he was, caressing the marble in the living room.
It was the kitchen. It was the green and with the gold. It was the kitchen that I was caressing. Let's be clear.
You were caressing it. He was admiring how the different materials were coming together, whether it was the stone with the metal with the wood. I think the size of the units was impressive to him. So I didn't have to sell, and he's a friend of mine. I wasn't trying to sell him, but I just really just got out of his way and let him go. And I think he has a lot of the energy that we wanted to tap into when Merid came to the UAE, where people come here who are affluent. They have good taste. It's good taste in wine. It's good taste in cars. Good taste in the people that they associate with. So, but what's lacking really here is quality. So when you can put those ingredients together, I think it came up with a recipe that really spoke near and dear to Lorenzo's heart.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit OCD when it comes to drilling down into quality. So I'm kind of semi-embarrassed to say this, but so I'm looking at things like the hinges of the front door and how they're flush fitting and how they're the quality. And there's like 3 of them. It's a heavy door, so I'm trying the door. Then I go in the kitchen. And I do the same thing with the drawers because if there's a big difference between an IKEA kitchen. Yeah, it looks great for about 10 minutes, and then you've used it for a couple of weeks, and it looks like it's 20 years old. I don't want to go through the pain of redoing a whole interior of an apartment I've just bought. I don't want that, and I've heard. I know many people have bought brand new and then had to gut the kitchens and the bathrooms because the quality is appalling. So I'm playing with the drawers and I'm playing with just to get a feel for it. And, to the point where I look at the grouting and the gaps in between the tiles, it's the detail. So you can be very flashy and you can paint a car and it looks really polished, but after about 3 months, it can yellow peel, which is things go bad. You look at the gaps in the tiles, and if things like that, and especially if show flat, it's supposed to show what you're going to get. So if the show flat is lacking quality, you know that it's not going to get any better when they build the real thing. So when I asked, well, will it be this quality? Said, well, actually no, because the ceiling heights are higher and we're going to have floor to grounds windows as opposed to what you're seeing now. I'm like, oh, so you've been better views? Well, yes. Oh, okay. And then one of the things it does sound silly, I really like, is I went into the main bathroom, the ensuite, or the main bedroom, and if you close the door and open the shower room door, you get a view straight across to the palm. So you can have your morning shower and you can daydream and you can be just looking straight across to the palm, if you have that view. And I'm like, I like that. I don't know if it was thought out or just by coincidence, but I thought I could quite happily just look out while in my morning shower.
Lorenzo, I can assure you that it's
unplanned.
On purpose, unplanned, and most of our units have that view throughout the whole building. So it's a feature that we think that it's going to be one of those Instagrammable moments that it's going to be from 70% of all the units have that view.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great view, and it brought a smile to my face because it's like, really, you act like a kid, like you said, like, yeah, but I like the view.
And on the plus side, there will never be a building in front of ICONIC Residences, so there will never be anyone to view you in your shower.
Yeah, that I'm not too worried about. I mean, I'll be on the 4501, I think I'm going to be on, so I'll be okay. But no, I'm really glad there won't be any in front because it was the view, which is beautiful.
It is. So, Michael, many developers talk about quality, and it is a word that's used everywhere nowadays. But how does Merid approach it differently?
Well, quality is one of the pillars that we implement in every state of the project. So from the selection of the architect, the approval of the brief, It's relaying to our designers what we want to achieve out of the project. And then it moves on to picking the right contractor to build the project. And then, of course, what many developers don't do is they do not pick a good contractor for their interior finishing, which is what everybody feels at the end of the day. So what brought us to this market is a lack of quality and our clients telling us we want to have nicer product. It's what brought us here. And as we build ICONIC and we build Riviera Residences in Abu Dhabi, these are both flagship projects for us. So we will just build upon that. And I think a lot of developers in the market, they have a very different approach to their sales. And their sales is sell everything on day one. You sell it out. But what happens in a market like now, we're going to see inflation in construction costs. So if you started a project and you sold everything out at prices from a year ago, you can't save on concrete. You can't save on the glazing. You can't save on much except for the interiors.
Yes.
So right now the project is sold at about 70%. We have a year and a half to go to complete it. As the market inflates, we will inflate with it.
Okay.
And that allows us to really deliver a product that meets our requirements, because we see increases right now in a lot of things. Everything associated with oil is going to inflate. Everything associated with plastic is going to inflate. Getting things here, logistic chains, it makes it more difficult and more expensive. That increases the prices. So anybody who bought into a project a year ago, I think they're going to have problems achieving the quality they want, because the developer will not do a project and lose money on it.
Yes.
And as a developer, for us, quality, it really shows how we're going to be different, not only today but 10 years from now. Because I believe there's lots of developers that came in and had to make they took the easy decision early on, and now they have a reputation for delivering something that you've got to replace the bathrooms or you've got to replace the kitchens. So these type of things hurt them for a long time. Merit, our reputation is neutral, and we are writing it. And so when we deliver the keys to our units in ICONIC, we want all of our buyers to say, yes, we made the right buy with Merit. We love the project. And even our designers, Pininfarina, are very happy to work with us. And they have lots of developers they work with. We say we're their favorite. Of course, there can be others, but I would say the way that we approach them, we enhance their design, we encourage them to really deliver this Italian lifestyle in their project. It makes us different, and quality is just one of the main pillars of that.
Okay. And Lorenzo, you are a keen car collector. You have a great collection of cars.
Thank you.
And you probably know Pininfarina better than most people. Did this influence your decision to buy an ICONIC Residences designed by Pininfarina?
Yeah. On a number of different levels, but on a basic level, they are not. They're not a licensing firm.
Okay.
They don't just rent out their name for anybody to use because it has a family history that runs deep and it's around design, excellence, and quality. I mean, I've got quite a few, luckily, of Pininfarina design cars. One of my favourites is the 612, and what makes it wonderful is that she's now, I call her she, sorry. She's 20 years old. The older she gets, the better she's aging, because the quality of that design is such that, and people who didn't like it, because there was a time when people found it ugly, are now really turning and going, actually, it does look beautiful. And it makes you smart. And that's what good design is. It's not something that's flashy for 1 year or 2 years. It's something that ages really well. And then you know that it's like a quality suit or a well-cut suit. You don't know if it's 1 year old or 20 years old. If it's cut well and it's a classic design, it's there for life. That's what I think Pininfarina really is and does. And with Michael and the quality element, if you build in the quality from the beginning, it's always going to be a quality product and it will age well. Yeah, there might be a fashion thing for the interior, but that'll come around as well. You know, if you look at anything, even the 70s colours are back in fashion. So if you happen to have an old 70s house and you've got an avocado bathroom, it was horrible, and now it's like, well, that's quite trendy. You know, things come back in fashion if it's done well.
Yes.
So I think Pininfarina is a case in point in terms of their design. Michael with his quality, which is the reason why. I mean, I introduced my friends. They were, "What, you bought the David?" Yeah, and they didn't believe me. Then, so I said, "Well, come on, I'll show you it." And two of them bought
Great.
on the back of the same rationale, and they are not. Again, they're not people. They lived here for 15, 20 years, and these were the first off-plan buildings they've ever bought.
Okay.
And they've bought. One lives in the Palm, the other one used to live in DIFC. They bought, but on the secondary market, not off plan, and they've been here 15 years. And they ended up buying within a week. They saw it. They both have wives, so they both have to ask their wives. I don't have to ask permission. I'm lucky that way. So it just goes to show that if you're like-minded and you like quality and you like design, it's not a hard decision to make.
True. And what was the Pininfarina design feature that stood out the most for you when you entered the show apartment?
So to me, I don't like square cubist. But if you're in a warehouse building, great, that's perfect, right? If you want an old warehouse, I love those as well. But after a while, you kind of get bored because you can only rearrange the furniture so many different ways in a cube. It's all the curves. The only problem with the curves is that you're going to have to buy furniture that is also non-squared, but that's okay. But it's the shapes, and things like, if you look at that, shapes like this, you can get lost in looking at the reflections. It's always slightly different. The light hits it in a different way. So he's teasing me about stroking the kitchen. Well, yeah, part of it is to feel the quality. And part of it is to understand the textures, because it's all part of the experience of, you don't buy a dress and never touch it. You don't. It's part of the sensory behaviour. If you want to feel it and look at it. So you see a curve, your natural instinct is to stroke the curve. That's what I like. It's a flat surface is kind of boring. That's why they have feature walls. Right, a feature wall is to disguise it and make it look interesting. Great. So I'll paint it bright red. No, but sort of brass line down the middle. Okay. When you walk in there, I haven't been in there for probably 9 months. I remember the sidewall, the shape, the sweep, which is reminiscent of a dashboard. There's certain elements that are reminiscent of car shapes, dashboards, just waves, and that's what makes it different and attractive, because you can spend a lot of time just thinking about, what could I do with this? So I'm like, So I need to have the bed, because the bed actually works in the main event. Don't necessarily need the sofa, but I do need a curved sofa. So it makes you try to think about how you're going to design it. I'm not a big fan of something that looks like a hotel. So if they're 50 units and they're all the same inside, then I'm in a hotel. I don't want to be in a hotel. If I want to live in a hotel, I would.
True.
Right? It's there are plenty of hotel residences that are all pre-furnished and they all look the same. No, you can't. You'd be silly to just cut and paste into that, because you could do so much with it.
Yes.
It's fun.
And we'll see in a year and a half how you design yours then.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out.
You have a bit of time at least.
I do.
Michael, what's the aspect that stood out the most to you?
Well, in general, I believe that from the facade to the interiors, we've really have encapsulated Pininfarina's essence. I have never owned a Ferrari like Lorenzo has, aspiring to do so.
Oh.
He's encouraging me.
Oh, here we go.
But I really think it's probably two features. One in the master bathroom, which Lorenzo talked about being able to look out through the glass from your shower and see the palm. The second is in the master bedroom, the way that they have a twisting, curving material that comes down in the bedroom. Everybody looks at that, and I've shown the unit, I don't know, 60 times, 100 times. I lost count, but everybody pays attention to this unit, this feature in the master bedroom. And one thing I'd like to say is that people, when they come to Merit, they usually buy with us at Merit, and probably 60% of all the buyers of ICONIC have been to my office.
Mm-hmm.
I have the same view from my office that we have from the show flat, but I think it shows, again, kind of Merit's approach, which is probably something Italian, to bring people in and to meet them and to greet them and to have a cup of coffee and ask them, when you buy this unit, what is it going to be for? It's very important for us to know about the community that we're going to have in the building. And I think it works both ways. The buyer gets to meet me, or some of our salespeople with me in my office, and they get to ask questions about Merit. And I think it's very rare. And we've seen 35-40% of our buyers at ICONIC have bought residences again with us in Riviera.
Yes.
And it's just the approach. We've had some times when people had an offer for more than 5 days, and we have either the unit's been bought by someone else or the price has been escalated, and people come back and they're upset and they say, okay, well, we'll find you another unit. We'll make an effort for this, but look at the next project with this. And every time we've done this, a negative turned to a positive, because we were able to kind of meet in the middle. And I think it's Merit's way, it's Pininfarina's way. It's really what we aspire to do.
I think it's how you create a community, right? My friends that they bought here followed me into Riviera as well, and then they introduce other people, because you like to be surrounded by like-minded people. You want to be. No one wants to live in a gated community, but everyone wants to live in a community where you have similar values, similar likes. It makes life a lot easier. I don't know. I'm laughing because I think in Riviera, the three of us have all in the same corner, and there's one floor in between each of us, because it was a bit. We're like, no, we cannot be on top of each other. We cannot do that. So, but there's like sort of like a me, then them, and then him. It's like, guys, this is a bit daft, but it just shows that, even your friends are happy to live in the same block because they want to live there. It's not that they're going to rent it out. There are some one beds that were bought for that, but the two bedders are for us.
Yes.
So it just means that, well, come around for mine for dinner. Sure, lift, X floor, up you go, down you go. So it's kind of nice.
But the problem you're going to have is whether you decide to live in ICONIC Residences or Riviera
It's easy.
Residences.
I started in ICONIC because it's finished first, and then I moved to Riviera.
And then you can decide.
Yeah, I'll pick whichever one
Perfect. How does working with a brand like Pininfarina align with Merit's design philosophy?
Well, I think we are a design-led development company. We start from the basic understanding of what our clients need. We put that into a very defined brief and a very defined scope. And then that goes away, and we start talking about the DNA of the project. Who are the buyers? What are they going to want from the building? Sometimes people want to buy a project, they want to rent it out. Sometimes they want it for themselves. So we try to really figure out what the target audience is. And once we relay that to the designer, in this case Pininfarina, we just let them be masters of their craft.
Okay.
I do not tell architects how to design. I don't have that ability, and even if I did, I would let them design. If not, then you don't need Pininfarina. You don't need Harley Jenner. You need to just hire an off-the-shelf white brand architect. But here, due to the I would say the correlation of their design with automobiles, the market here loves that, craves that. People want to drive their beautiful luxury automobile into their parking, and it not to be dirty, it not to be not friendly. So it starts really from what the person imagines. The arrival is very important, whether it's the lobby, the parking. We go up to the amenities. We spend a lot of time on trying to figure out the right amenities, the right size, the right location. And we just recently added a paddle court to ICONIC.
Yes.
Which we did not have early on. It's an additional cost to us, but we believe the residents would want that and benefit from that. We've modified our home cinema to make it a podcast center. So residents now, when they want to do these type of podcasts, you don't have to go somewhere to look for it. You've got it in your building.
That's great.
So, and that could be for people who have children that need to do it for school projects, or for businessmen that want to go ahead and have a podcast. So I think the whole idea of bringing in all these elements and letting the architect kind of run wild is important. Of course, we do look at costs. Of course, we do look at to make sure the functionality works, because sometimes an architect won't know that a beautiful design is not necessarily what's overly functional. And as Lorenzo has said, we do have a lot of curves in the building, but we try to keep the rooms pretty square. We have curves that go up into the ceiling, which are amazing and which are unique. We have curves in the lighting, but we want to make sure that we're not doing something different leveled, so that it's just inconvenient for our buyers. So let them run. And just keep with them and keep them in mind that we have to really build this not for our brochure, but for the people who are going to be living in the project.
I forgot about the garage. It's the air-conditioned garages that help, because it keeps the humidity away from your old cars. So I've got a couple of classic cars here, and I have to park them off. We'll have to park them in a secure parking space in the summer because of the humidity. It's too hot in the summer. So, but here I just park them in the garage. Perfect.
Michael, developers often promise a community, and Lorenzo's touched on the point that it's not something that can be manufactured. What's your take on this?
Well, community, I think, is very important for all of us. As we get older, we want to be with people who we want to be with, and we don't want to be with people we don't want to be with. And I think that a marketing team cannot create community. Community is created by people, and we try to do things in our sales to figure out who is this buyer, what motivates him or her, and do they fit. You can't deduct all of that from a 3-minute or 5-minute discussion with someone. But what I can say is that in the last year and a half that I've been here, and we sold 500 units, we have not had one person that bought our project and has resold, not one. And that means that the people, they identify with our project, and they want to be a part of this project when it's completed. And I think we'll see the same in Riviera. That just this last weekend, I saw a post of all of these stingrays going in Oval Bay. I don't know, there were 100 of them right on our bay, and that's beautiful. It's not our community, right? It's nature's community, but people are going to want to be with that. I want to see people walk out onto the boardwalk with their kids and watch the stingrays go by. I want to see people approaching on a boat. All of these images in my mind are something that we're going to introduce to the community, and we believe we're going to have the paddle courts booked all the time.
Yes.
We believe the pool with a nice margarita is going to be served on the 40th level, overlooking the palm at a sunset. This is in our mind, and we believe that the people that are buying here are going to fully engage with that.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, you set the stage, you provide the environment, and then you end up. So I'll be surprised if half the weekends I don't spend it with my usual friends, rather than going out somewhere to a beach club or to a hotel. We'd end up just going to the 40th floor and hanging out there together.
Yeah.
You know, one day we'll have lunch there, maybe we'll have lunch upstairs. It doesn't matter, but it's the people you want to hang out with, so it's much easier to go to your own pool area.
Well, and we also want to have the ability for people to have, parties for themselves, so they can imagine it's a nice either a cup of coffee right in the morning with friends with a breakfast, which you can do up on the 40th floor, or an evening cocktail or a great glass of wine, right? This is stuff, again, Pininfarina helps us with that, because we're on the same wavelength. We don't need to explain it to them. They know that. And when you're a resident in Dubai, in the past it's been kind of plastic. There has not been this community. Now we see families that have moved in. People are planning on retiring here. Yes. And it's really a community that we didn't create, but that's looking for that place to be and to be with like-minded people.
And especially like Lorenzo, when you love the projects and you convince your friends to also buy in the
I didn't convince them. They convinced themselves. I introduced them.
Okay.
Because that's important. I think that's important. No one sold. There's no hard sell. There's no push. I just said, come and see them. Just come and see. The come and see brought ICONIC, and then they volunteered to come and buy it in Riviera. I didn't have to say come and see.
Yeah.
They said, yeah, well, we want in as well. So it's kind of different because there is no, you got to see this, it's a good deal. No, there's nothing like that. Mm-hmm. That's why it's community, because it's out of choice. I want to be there.
Yes. I
want to hang out. It's like going out on a Friday night. You want to hang out with people you hang out with on a Friday night. You're not forced to hang out with people on a Friday night. You wouldn't do it.
True. And by inviting your friends, you're creating your community in your home as well.
So my Friday nights are going to be easy. Meet you downstairs.
How does Merit craft the lifestyle that its buildings enable?
Well, there's a few key components of how we do that. One is set around the amenities that we provide. And at ICONIC, we have 3 amazing floors of amenities. Mm-hmm. One is on top of the podium. We have an amazing pool, paddle courts, outdoor bar, just an amazing view over the Palm that you can enjoy poolside. Then we have a gym, we've got a yoga studio, we've got a family lounge, we've got an area we can go rent for parties, and a kids play area. That really kind of sets the scene for people being able to come and enjoy that Dolce Vita lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Then you move up to the building, the 39th and the 40th floor, where we have an amazing pool that is infinity, again, looking out over the Palm. I think no one's going to want to leave from there. And then a Pininfarina inspired cafe. So it will be serviced from the restaurant on the ground floor, okay, but you're able to go up there and enjoy in a private atmosphere with your neighbors what living in Dubai is all about. Mm-hmm. And Dubai, it is a lot of networking. I think people want to come together, want to find ways to help grow their business, or if they've got a challenge, they want to ask their neighbor how they dealt with that. In Abu Dhabi, we have 3 times as many amenities. It's huge amenities that we have there. We'll have a total of 2 paddle courts. We have a total of 3 pools. We've got the cold plunge. We have all these amazing things.
The beach.
We're right adjacent to the beach and right on this amazing marina. So this is really kind of how it defines the residents that are going to live there. Mm-hmm. And the storytelling from ICONIC is really of a Pininfarina designed, stylish project. In Abu Dhabi, it's bringing the Riviera to the Emirates. Mm-hmm. So that whole combination of the whole island vibe of Abu Dhabi, along with the sophistication of the Riviera, it's something that we believe really enhances lifestyle. And we've seen the engagement from both of those projects. In Abu Dhabi, we had a number of Etihad pilots that had been living in Abu Dhabi for 15 years and never bought a unit.
Okay.
They bought units with us. It just identified with what they wanted. They're living in a plain vanilla building somewhere, flying in and out. They didn't really spend the time to really relax when they're at home. Mm-hmm. Now they really see that ability to come home, bring your friends over, and enjoy the lifestyle at Riviera. And we see the same with ICONIC, because 85% of our buyers in both projects are European. They come from a good standard of living. They mm-hmm. come from a appreciation of lifestyle, and they're getting both of that at both of our projects.
Yes. We're seeing an increase in branded residences globally. But as a buyer, what do you feel sets branded residences apart from the rest?
You see, that's what I was referring to about the licensing. Mm-hmm. In my view, there's branded, which is just that. It's a licensing agreement, or there's designed. Mm-hmm. So the difference is the Porsche building actually designed by Porsche, or is it just you've rented out or you've leased the Porsche name? Is it Aston Martin design? Well, unlikely, but so it's branded and design are very different. So just because you have a brand doesn't mean you designed it. Just because it's an Yves Saint Laurent, whatever, perfume, doesn't mean Yves Saint Laurent actually are perfumery. Yes. So I'm more into the design element and the quality element rather than just a name. Okay. Because a license agreement is a license agreement. I used to sell license agreements for data, but it's just a licensing agreement. It doesn't mean you're involved. It just means you've rented out or leased your name. Well, what does that mean? Mm-hmm. Everybody else underneath that has got no involvement other than whatever terms and conditions are on the contract. If you're the architect, if it's your brand, it's different.
Yeah.
And so this licensing, branded is a little bit, for me, grey. I want to know who has actually done the design work.
Okay. And Michael, from a developer's perspective, what do you feel sets a good branded residence apart from the rest?
Well, I think there's 3 or 4 popular branded type of residences. First is hospitality. The second is automotive. A third is fashion. That really stand out. I think fashion is the weakest because there's very little substance behind that. I don't think that if you have a shoe manufacturer in your clothing line, it doesn't really translate very well to architecture. I think you can go buy those brands if you want them in your project. Automotive is one that has become very popular, especially popular here in Dubai because people really are passionate about their cars, and you can bring a lot of design elements in. Pininfarina, they elevate that ahead of Porsche and Aston Martin and the Mercedes projects because they are the designers of Ferraris. They are the designers of Maseratis, and they get into the detail of what this needs to have to deliver that type of Pininfarina quality. The last one is hospitality, which is also a very strong brand for a branded residence because you get aftercare service. Whenever you do a project, say with a Marriott or with an Accor, they have their brand specifications, which you have to meet.
Yes.
And then they provide services and they provide a spa and they do all of this additional services. The question is, do you want to pay for all the services or not? It's a question you need to think about because if you have all of the hotel services, you're going to be paying a lot for that. When you can go to your favorite barbershop, or you can go to your favorite spa, or you can do all that somewhere else. But I think for Merit, we will look at doing some hospitality branded residences, just because we think that there is a premium that a developer will get, and there's a premium that buyers will pay. And I would say that for hotel branded residences, the premium over the market is 20 to 35%. For automotive is somewhere, I would say 15 to 30%, depending on who that is. Fashion brands is probably 10 to 15. And you have to, as a buyer, figure out, is it worth it to me to go ahead and do that? Because if you look at all of the branded residences, I think architecturally, none of them stand out. And we can look at our office and you can see many of them, our building will stand out. And not only will it be the tallest in Internet City, not only will it have the curves of the waves from the front of the building and the sand dunes from the back, the elevators that are going up along the back of the building, you can just feel what's going on, to the Italian lifestyle inside. I think that's really what makes this project amazing here.
Yeah. So thank you very much for the conversation today. It's clear that you're very happy to be a Merit brand ambassador. And when someone is genuinely proud of what they've chosen, it shows the story of a great development. So I will end the podcast by asking a few questions that I ask all of our guests. So the first one is, what does luxury mean to you?
Ooh. Well, it's the feeling it gives you when you experience it. So whether you buy a pair of shoes or whether you buy a car, it's how do you feel when you wear the shoes? How do you feel when you drive the car? Does it feel like an event? Does it feel special? If it feels special, then it's luxury. If it doesn't, then you just bought something.
Luxury, you ask me this question often on podcasts, and I don't think my answer has changed over many of the podcasts, but I think right now time is a huge luxury.
Yes.
And how you spend your time, if you can spend it around like-minded people, if you can spend it around people who make you feel good. Lorenzo and I, we go out, I can't say often. No. We go out probably 3 to 5 times a year. Every time it's an amazing, fun night. We laugh, we have a good time. And that really just re-energizes me. So being able to be with like-minded people, spend your time with them, I think is something that I value more than anything.
Great. And what matters the most to you when you're choosing a property?
Oh, the quality. As I said, not the surface level, the real quality.
Okay.
And the materials. And the design, of course. I mean, it's that combination. It's design and quality combined. And that's the main thing.
Okay. And what do you think will matter most to future generations in their homes?
I hope more than think that we stop becoming disposable. So people stop buying a sofa that lasts 18 months, a kitchen that lasts 6. Well, I think, people start to actually appreciate what quality is, and how something that can last pretty much half your lifetime or your lifetime is worth it. Maybe you have to recover it every 10 years, but the actual fabric, or not the fabric, the actual structure is still there. But you may want to change the color of the fabric, you may want to change the type of fabric, but the actual structure of the sofa is there. So that's what I'm hoping, that people stop just going through fads and disposable stuff.
Great. Well, thank you for
You're welcome.
joining us today.
You're welcome. It was fun.
Come back for a coffee, sir.